The second explanation of 1 Corinthians 15:29 we'll look at, I call the rite of passage explanation. The sum of it is that in Corinth there was an unusual focus on funerary ceremonies and the underworld. There was even a religious site dedicated to Hades, the god of the underworld, which was very unusual. Citing anthropological and archaeological data, biblical scholar Richard Damaris proposed that the Corinthian overconfidence in baptism, combined with an intense concern for the dead, to create a distinctively Corinthian practice, in which baptism for the dead was instituted as a rite of passage for members of the church who had died. The ceremony was a second baptism, but not an effective baptism. Recognizing baptism as a rite that symbolized the transition between death and the spiritual resurrection life, the Corinthians instituted baptism for the dead as a formal procedure that eased the deceased's transition to the afterlife. In other words, it was analogous to the modern practice of a wake, and was merely ceremonial and a matter of individual conscience as far as Paul was concerned. He disapproved of the practice personally, but he allowed others to make their own decisions about it. I found Damaris' idea interesting, though not the best solution. What was just as interesting was the reaction his thesis got from Mormon apologists, which sometimes involves selective quotation. In the last subbit of this section, we'll look at a reading of 1 Corinthians 15:29 that I found particularly clever and persuasive. See you then.